folks, this is John Pettipas, Farmer JP, making a recording. It's the fourth in our series, un, deux, trois, four. The fourth in our series of gardening tips with Farmer JP. And it's now about 25 minutes before 12 noon on Friday morning, which is the 29th day of May. Time flies. Last Friday in May already. This morning, we got a few items to start off with. I had a gentleman in the other day who went to Las Vegas. Just a quick little shout out. Fine fellow from Cape Jack. Went to Las Vegas back in February before all this coronavirus started. And he was in Las Vegas on the Strip, and President Trump's, the presidential motorcade went by. So the big armored limousine and the motorcade, the entire presidential motorcade of POTUS, President of the United States, President Donald J. Trump's motorcade, went right by down the Las Vegas Strip. It was quite something to see. Not everybody gets to see something like that. So a shout out there, and I got a little, did you know, I have a question for you all. Did you know why bees have sticky hair? Anybody out there? My hair is not sticky. It's fresh shower this morning. And my trusty farmer's cap on. Anyway, any of you fine folks know, again I repeat, why bees have sticky hair? Anybody? Okay, I'll answer that. Why bees have sticky hair? Because they use a honeycomb. Well, I thought it was good. I made out of it. Question, dear viewers. Why do bees have sticky hair? Because they use a honeycomb. I thought it was pretty darn good. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that one. Now, they take and I also want to try my trusty little straw. Enough of that one. We'll set that one aside for now. Okay. And speaking of bees, when you're planting a garden, you do not have to mow the edge of the garden pristine. I just went out before I recorded and picked some lovely local dandelions. See? I know why people don't like that. Dandelions, they're beautiful, beautiful. You can make wine. I don't believe in liquor, mind you, but make wine with them. And dear neighbor of ours, Pius Matty, used to make choke cherry wine and dandelion wine. And he made a note one time from my mother how to make it, and then he said, "Get drunk. Come and see me." Well, again, he was a witty guy. But dandelions attract bees. There's been some big bees out there. God, they're the size of small hummingbirds. There's been beautiful weather in Nova Scotia, and eastern Canada, eastern United States, eastern North America this week. Actually, summer-like weather. So the dandelions attract bees. And you need bees. All fruit and vegetables, or many vegetables, all fruit needs pollination. So if you cut the lawn too pristine, then you're going to not get as many bees. So that's why they put beehives in blueberry patches, blueberry fields. They put beehives in the apple orchards and so on. That's why pollination is a very important thing in agriculture. So you don't want to cut your lawn too close later in the season as stuff comes into blossom. Now, speaking of stuff coming to blossom, this here is locally grown, from local greenhouse. Tomatoes. These are big ones. I love them. They're beefsteak red. Big red beefsteak. Why red? Aren't all tomatoes little? Actually, you can get yellow tomatoes now. They're acid-free, but I still like the traditional red ones. The rouge, as we say in French, the rouge, the red tomato, the red tomate. Okay, so the lovely, beautiful plants. Okay, this is the beefsteak. Nice, big ones. Next one we have here. This here is Early Girl. It's an earlier tomato, not quite as big, but it's a great cropper, a great producer. This is Early Girl. Now, and finally we have here Scotia. I buy mine every year at Duykers Grenhouses at West Arm Trackety, just before Afton, up the road here. And they've been in business, I think, just almost a 50-year business. So the sun runs it out. A beautiful product. So you have beefsteak tomatoes. You have Early Girl tomatoes, and you have Scotia. Now, I'm a bit early to mention tomatoes because we still have danger of frost till about the middle of this month. Okay, next month, excuse me. There's only 2 days left this month. Middle of June, the 10th or 15th of June. That said, Everybody's planting gardens this year. And so go out to the greenhouse and get your tomatoes now. Go to your garden center. You buy from the local greenhouse, you better yet, because they're treated with tender loving care. So you get your little tomatoes and set them out in the steps or on the windowsill in the pantry or something like that there, and just keep them watered in the sunlight, and they'll do fine. You put them out a little bit too soon to put them out yet, probably. Although, mind you, some people put them out now. If you see, take an old Javix bottle. Okay, you just cut the bottom off it. There's purpose in it. Cut the bottom off and you put it around it and it keeps the frost away. If you get a really cold night, just put a piece of wet newspaper plastic on top of it. Probably best in this climate to wait another 10 days, 2 weeks before you actually put them out. Now, speaking of tomatoes, I have here, you all get a good view, these are eggshells. I don't even open an egg carton unless I eat 8 eggs. So I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I get 8 or 9 here. Eggshells. And remember, eggshells, sometimes you get little black spots about your tomatoes. If you put eggshells on the bottom and the top of the soil underneath tomatoes and crush them up, there's good stuff in eggshells. And as a result, you don't get that little black spot in the bottom of your tomatoes. Sometimes you don't get it anyway. I think if you have a wet season, some years it's not a problem. You get a wet season, but eggshells, whatever in the eggshells, if it's a calcium or whatever it is, it's good for tomatoes. So you don't have to throw anything out. No need to throw stuff out. Okay, you can save those eggshells. I put my recyclables in the fridge freezer, and then once a week I throw it up in the compost pile. These eggshells, I put them in a spot in the garden where the tomato plants are being planted. Now, speaking of throwing that out, this here's a great idea. Stuff you can grow in Nova Scotia. Celery. Celery. This was from a local provincial daily paper. And you can take you get a celery heart at the Sobe store at your supermarket, and you have a few little small ones in the middle, not big enough to fill up with with cheese or slice up. Take them, put them in a glass of water, and they'll root. Then you set them out in your garden. It can be, remember, planters. I mentioned raised beds, planters. Set them out, and they'll grow. And from that one little stalk of celery, undersized celery, root it, you put it out, and you grow a nice whole celery, and you're so proud of that you grew it yourself. You can grow celery in Nova Scotia. I didn't know that a couple of years ago. The Boyle farms up the road make celery. I don't know if Duykers sells celery plants or not, but Boyle Farms grows celery, and it's beautiful stuff. I used it as part of my Thanksgiving packages last year, actually. You can cut up the green part on top, and you can use that for putting in soup later in the fall from your garden and so on. So celery grows great. Now, this is another interesting article. Bumper crop for beginning gardeners. This here is from earlier in May. Bumper crop this year for beginning gardeners. And they're showing zucchini. Zucchini's not a hard item to grow. I get some commercial wrap and I cut little holes in it, like little X, and I put the seeds in. It warms up the soil. And I had a beautiful zucchini last year. You can make a black garbage bag at your place, or a blue one, or clear plastic, whatever, and put it in your garden. Put a little bit of soil on the edge of it, or rock, so it doesn't blow away in the wind. And zucchini, it's a lovely thing to grow. Lovely thing, and you can make quiche with it. You can make zucchini muffins, zucchini bread. You can have it as a vegetable. It's a lovely thing. So they say a bumper year for beginning gardeners. Bumper year for beginning gardeners. Now, next week, I'm going to discuss something else. It's going to be potatoes. And here we have Humar, Mr. Lobster. This is actually a plush one, but Humar Lobster. Years ago, people used lobster shells between, just like eggshells are good underneath your tomatoes, they use lobster shells between the potatoes. And so, you get lobsters, have a feed lobsters, don't throw them out. Pretend this is potato seed. One potato seed, a piece of lobster shell. Next potato seed, 6 inches away, and so on. So Mr. Humar, Humar, tastes lovely in the stomach, tastes delicious in the mouth, lovely in the stomach, but Mr. Humar is good to recycle him into the garden. In fact, when you plant a garden, there's something holy. It's spiritual. It's almost holy. In the Bible, there's an expression often used at funerals: unless a grain of wheat falls to the ground and dies, and it sprouts back up, it remains but a single grain. So I'm going to repeat that. Unless a grain of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains but a single grain of wheat, single grain of wheat. So you plant it, and then you get several things of wheat. So it grows. Same thing. The lobster is recycled. There's no need to waste. No need to waste. So just to recap, we did the three varieties. There's other varieties, but these are the three I'm using. Early beefsteak, big beef, early girl, and Scotia, local greenhouse, Duykers Greenhouses. Now, they think it shows great idea. Great idea. You can repurpose stuff. You have a little bit of small celery, not big enough to use, you feel. Just put it in a glass of water. A couple of days at roots. Put it out in your window box. Put it out in your raised bed. Put it in your garden. You'll grow a whole stalk of celery from it. No need to waste. People talk about environment and recycling. Well, the early gardeners, the early farmers, wasted nothing. They wasted nothing. Okay? Bumper year for beginning gardeners. Don't be afraid. Bumper crop for beginning gardeners. Don't be afraid to try new ideas. Don't cut your dandelions in the pollination season. Let the bees do their thing. Eggshells, again, put them in your third dimension, put them in your tomato plants. It's good. Good for the whole garden, actually. Next year it'll be tilted again. And Mr. Lobster, M. Humar, his shells come in handy in the garden of growing potatoes. So that's basically it. And we ask you all, wonderful folks out there in computer land, on the YouTube, in gardening land, we ask you to be so kind as to press the subscribe button and spread the word around. Press the like button, spread the word around. United States, Canada, Australia, anywhere. Spread the word. All viewers are appreciated everywhere. It's good stuff. So next time, this is John Pettipas wishing all you wonderful gardeners, all you wonderful viewers out there in computer land, all the best and God bless. Thank you very much. And happy gardening. Have a good week in gardening, folks. Bye for now.